Hey guys, this is Dinosaur Drawer, and this is part 2 of how to draw the indoraptor head. So, alright, we've got the eye in place right now. We could try to get the eye detailed right now, or we could wait for later. And I think it's best to do it right now, because otherwise we have to deal with how do you call it, the shading. I mean, if everything around it is very dark, you can't really get the eye darker than that. So it's better to just put in the eye, make it very dark, not too dark, but just very dark, the kind of tone you want to have in your drawing, and then the eye will be a lot better visible. So I actually have a tutorial on how to draw a dinosaur eye, a very realistic dinosaur eye. You can look it up, and I explain to you exactly how to get a very nice looking dinosaur eye. You just keep two parts very light, and that's just a little stip at the upper part of the eye, at his iris, and a very large open space circle over here. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna make this as dark as you can, and once you get closer to the very large open space, it gets a little lighter. And this is exactly the part on which I'm gonna be using the 4B pencil. So the upper part of the eye is gonna be very dark, just to make it look realistic. And the iris is also gonna be very dark. Just like that. Just try to blend it in very nicely. Alright, yeah, something like this. So that looks pretty nice. So now I'm gonna try to focus on the scales and stuff. So when you've got like a ridge like this one, what I normally do is start putting in some scales in the middle, make them smaller, and then put some scales around it. So that makes it look like they have to be smaller scales, of course. That makes it look like a 3D object. So one large scale over there, and do the same thing all the way around the ridges. And it's better if you don't want to have too much work to do with doing some scales and stuff. It's better to just put the scales a little bit farther apart when they get smaller. That makes it look like, well, it gives you the illusion of detail. And over here again, also, just stop doing it at some point. Alright, I'm gonna turn the paper a little bit so it's easier for me to draw. Just keep doing it all around. And right here we have something like another ridge. I'm not sure, but it's like another ridge. Goes all the way down there. And this one goes all the way up to there. And this ridge actually goes like this. And then this ends at about over here. Like so. And because I'm actually at the end of the jaw, the back part of the jaw, I'm gonna be drawing a lot of scales over here, very large scales, and I'm going to put them further apart once I come closer to the front of the jaw. And something that you can try is when you have a 4B pencil, you can do all the detail and stuff, and then you pick the HB pencil and just go over it and put in some shadow parts. That doesn't really make it very messy, if you know what I mean. That makes it look a little bit more smooth with dark and light. Yeah, so alright, we're almost done with this ridgy kind of thing. And over here I'm just gonna put in some rough scales, because we're not gonna be focusing a lot of the neck. We want people to see the front of the drawing, I mean the head and stuff. So that's where we want people to focus on. So that's gonna be our main objective, to put in the most care. So around the eye, he has some wrinkles. So we're gonna try to draw a few wrinkles. And actually, he has a lot of wrinkles in front of his eye over here, and then they kind of are further apart over here. So this is just another way to get a lot of detail into the drawing, is just by doing a lot of shading and putting in wrinkles at places that you would expect the dinosaur to have a lot of wrinkles at. Alright, the farther I go to the darker part, the harder I'm gonna press down on my pencil. So the wrinkles are still visible. Alright, so we could do the same, put in a lot of wrinkles over here, but first we want to make some parts darker than other parts. And with this particular drawing, the front of his jaw, his snout, is going to be very, very dark. So you want a lot of shading at the front. There's also a lot of shadow over here. So we also want this to kind of be like this, and then, not sure why, but this kind of connects, the shading kind of connects with this huge scar, and then it goes a little bit more like this. Yeah, just put in a lot of shadow over here, right at the place where most dinosaurs have like that hole in their skull. I'm not sure why they have it, maybe for better smelling, so they can have better smelling and stuff. I don't know. Alright, so here goes like this, the shadow. And the shadow is actually very present over here. There's a lot of darkness over there. So again, the shadow connects with this huge scar. I'm sorry if you can hear music, it's not mine, it's music of my neighbors. Alright, just like that. So this makes it look a little smoother when you're going in with a darker pencil. Let's see. A lot more shadow over here. It's a lot darker over there. And it's a lot darker over here. Alright. And also, we do have a lot of shadow over there. It goes like this, and then it goes like this. It actually connects all the way to here. And then we have a lot of shadow over here. We have some very dark lines, veins and stuff, I think, and it kind of wrinkles over here. Which are very dark, and we're gonna shade it in later, but right now it's not, we don't have the right pencil to do this. So I'm gonna, this part I'm gonna do with the 4B pencil. Alright, the only thing left with the HB pencil right now is doing the lower jaw. I'm gonna erase those lines because they're not really necessary anymore. But yeah, you could still see them, but it's a lot harder to see them when the drawing is darker. They won't be as appealing as before. Okay, so there's a lot of, well, this teeth actually goes a little bit more like that. There's a lot of shadow over here. And also, what we did before with those lines, he has some over here as well. So let's draw in those lines. A very large one over here. Over here. Over here another one. Another one. And one over there. And then they get like smaller and smaller. Until we are over here, and that's where there aren't any lines anymore. So yeah, let's start shading. So at the bottom of the jaw, a lot of shading. Very, very much shading. And it goes up something like this. And over here as well somewhere. And then just try to make the transition between dark and light a little bit smoother. But it's not, you don't really have to put that much attention in it yet, because it's not really later on when it gets darker you won't really see it anymore. Alright, so now I don't think we're gonna need the HB pencil anymore. We're gonna be using the 4B pencil, and I'm just going to refine the jawline first. So wait, let's just first sharpen my pencil before we start, so we can get some thinner lines and more detail. Okay. So just go over this line again. Just go over the whole jaw line again. But now, what you're gonna do with the teeth is make some strange shapes like that at the teeth, because the teeth are no longer in the mouth, they're actually extending out of the lip. So that's what we're going to be drawing right now. That's what we're going to be putting a lot of attention into. Alright, so I would say that looks pretty cool. Now we're gonna do the same, but with the lower jaw. I'm gonna turn the paper a little bit. Might be annoying for you guys that I turn my paper sometimes, but yeah, it makes the drawing look a little bit better on my part. So feel free to do it yourself, actually. So right here, the jaw is just straight, and then just all of a sudden, the teeth are coming out of his lip. And also going to darken in this line a tiny bit. Like that. So I would say that looks pretty close to what I have right here, but there's still a lot of detail missing right now. So that's what we're going to do right now, putting in the majority of the details. Alright, make this line darker as well, and this line actually connects to the lower jaw, just like that. And then there's just a little bit of shading, but not too much. That's all over here. And then this is the yellow line. We're gonna just try to leave this white. There's a lot going on over here, but it's pretty hard to get the right things, the right kind of shading you need over there. And also over here we need a lot of shading. Just something like that. And then this goes a little bit like this. And then it kind of just kind of fill it in, not too dark. Alright, this is where it's going to get a little tricky. Because you need to play with the darkness and the lighting. Just leave a white strip just before you're hitting the next dark part, the dark line. And then darken in that line again and fade it in. One more line over here. and one more over there, and again just fade it in. So then it kind of looks like this. Try not to make this too appealing, so just darken in the rest of it around it. What you could do is at this point get a few rounded scales into there. Gives it the illusion of detail again. So if you just put a few scales in there, everything will be alright. So you don't need to go overboard with your details to make it look good. It can also just look good when you're just putting in a few scales at some random places that people will be looking at, and then it could make the drawing look a lot better. Alright, now we do need some basic lines over there, because we are going to put in scales over here. And these scales need to be oval formed, kind of oval-like. They do need like an oval form to get the right idea, because over here it looks like almost like a crocodile kind of skin type, but the scales in the original picture are a lot smaller than what I'm drawing right now, but it does have the lines that I'll be showing you in a short bit. That's why we are making it like this. So now get those lines between it. Not too much, just don't go overboard. Just a few. That makes it look kind of like the reference image that I'm using. Alright, well right now we could use the HB pencil to get some detail into this, so this won't get too dark. And that's the whole point of it, because this is the yellow line. This is where the yellow line starts. Just like blue, he has a colored line going all the way along his body. And this does not have to be very detailed, because again, we want people to look at the head. So we are about finished with the neck right now. The only part we have to do is the upper part of his neck, but we can do this later. We can do that later. So now we want to get the shadow of those huge bumps on his teeth. Just draw in some shadow, but don't go farther than the teeth itself. This is actually the line where you need to be stopping, the middle of the teeth. So don't go all the way to this side, just stay over here. And then extend the line a little bit and make it like a triangle kind of shadow. And this is the huge scar that I was talking about, and we're gonna make this very, very dark. Just like that. And then he has some some lines over here and just some very tiny little lines. Put in a little shadow over there and go over it. Don't press down too hard on your pencil over here, otherwise you'll get it too dark and it won't look very nice blended in and stuff. And now what you could do is get some simple lines, the same as what we did here, but now over here. And don't do it too dark, but yeah, just try to put in some, not too much, well, you could call it detail, but it's like cracked skin and stuff. So that's what it's supposed to look like cracked skin. This part is going to be very dark right now because this part is also very dark. So we do have to make this part darker. And then we can just later on put some scales on top of it. In the reference image that I'm using, again, those scales are very tiny, but we're just gonna be doing it with very large scales. Alright, a little bit dark over here, a little bit dark over there. Just trying to get some, trying to make it look a little more 3D. Just put some lines and stuff. And very thin lines, don't go overboard with it. And we could also put some in over here, but we do need a lot more shadow at the part of the eye. So I'll just put in a little bit more shadow. But what I could do is just go over those wrinkles again with the 4B pencil, so it will be a lot more visible, and that makes that part darker in general when I go over it. So again, I'm just putting in some lines to make it look a little more three-dimensional. Also quite a few over here. Alright, now it's time to put in some scales. So right now, I'm starting over here with very large rounded scales. Some are rounded, some are oval shaped. You don't have to press down too hard on your pencil, just so that you can just see the scales, because we did put in a lot of rendering in the drawing and we don't want that to go to waste. So if you press down too hard on your pencil right now, the rendering won't be clearly visible anymore, because your eye will be focused on the darker scales and stuff. Just putting in those scales around it, around this hole, and we can later on put some more scales in it. And just make the scales smaller and smaller the closer you get to the front of the snout. That's right, we need to darken in the nose. We can put some very small scales around the nose, like that. Alright, and again, don't go overboard, just, it doesn't need to be, you don't need the scales to be too close to each other, otherwise you will have to draw in more, and the parts where you put in the scales too close to each other will be a lot darker. So again, just putting in some random scales, actually, not putting them too close together. Alright, so that's the upper jaw about finished. Now let's go to the lower jaw. The lower jaw can be, and on the lower jaw you don't really have that much to worry about, because over here you do have the eye and this part, and everything needs to be rounded and three-dimensional and stuff, but the lower jaw does not really have that much to make it look three-dimensional. So you could just put in those scales. And you can do some smaller scales if you want. I mean, I'm just doing them very roughly and very huge, very big, huge scales, where you don't really need those very big scales. You can also just go